Hi guys, it's Aegis here, and today I'm going to do a Kagero deck profile. So just without talking about anything else, it will be a Overlord build. So I've been playtesting it, adjusted some of the stuff, and I'm pretty happy with the current result. So here you are, the deck profile. So starting Vanguard, just any one that you like. I just got this one in foil, so I just used this one. Then of course, since this is the new Overlord deck, I'm running 4 of the cross, 4 of the ends. Nothing much to say about them, because you're playing the cross, and the main reason of playing the cross is you are going to copy the end scale, so nothing much. But of course, the cross here helps you to clear the hand size issue, trying to keep you at least a single drive for your third attack if your opponent is grade 3. So, and also makes the whole thing at least 1 turn faster. Your first drive you can restand 2 times already, attack 3 times. So this is already amazing. And then I am running 4 of this new little dragon here, Kagero dragon. So he helps you to search for the cross, because most of the time you want to ride the cross, not the end, so you can do a lot of things faster. So able to search top 7 for the cross, as long as you call it, very nice. And then as long as your Vanguard attacks and you have 4 cards or less, then this will get 5k, and you can, if you restand 2 times, attack 2 or 3 times, it will just get 15k plus. To be trying to get 5k by itself, so good attacker, good searcher, must in the deck. And then I'm running 4 of this, what is called the turret cannon dragon. So this is a very good options to use for a few reasons. 1, it draw you cards. 2, it kill regards. 3, helps you recycle your normal unit, which most likely will be the ends. So you can feel free to ditch the end any time, so that you can recycle with your turret cannon dragon and put it back to the deck, so you have resources to use the cross skill from your deck to copy the skill. And I'm running 3 of the Decat. Got restrictions, feel your souls, basically it. And I'm also running 2 of the Striken. Not a lot of people run Striken. They rather run maybe like more Decats, and some of them even run Berserk Dragon. I've tried Berserk Dragon, but personally I don't like to use Berserk Dragon in this build, because Berserk Dragon eats your soul. Even it can draw you a card, but then that soul to me is too important. As you can see by now, the only way that I can do a plus on soul charge is Decat, because even if you use the cross, you soul blast 1 and put 1 Overlord in, that's plus minus 0, and then when you use the ends without power plus skill to restand, you need to soul blast that extra card. So every single turn you are like soul blast 2 and soul charge 1 back, so you are minus 1 in soul, which means the number of times that you can restand and use the cross skill is very limited, unless you keep rewriting. But there's no guarantee that you always get another the cross in your hand. Even you have your Init Road Dragon here helps you, but to me soul is important, so I don't run Berserk Dragon and run Striken instead. But then with Striken, you need to be very careful, since you need 1 counterblast to activate the skill to get crit, 5k and a draw. So if you only have 1 counterblast once you use striking and you ride the cross, copy the end, then you can use the non-power gain withstand skill because it costs you another counterblast. And if you're in a competitive environment, your opponent will likely going to damage deny you, unless they're playing oracles, which they will crit you very hard. But I've been play testing against oracle, and so far I can survive. So I am okay to run striking, but you need to be very careful when you ride striking. Make sure you at least have a counterblast there, so that if your opponents are not going to attack you at all for the whole turn, or just keep attacking your regards if you're playing any regards, you still at least have a counterblast for the striking skill. And once you copy the end skill with the cross, then at least you can just draw 3 cards and stand to do a 3 crit attack with force 2 or 2 crit attack with force 1. So just be careful when using striking. And then I'm running 4 of the Lava Flow Dragon because again, making sure you have the cross in the hand is very important. So there's 2 type of Grave Researcher for you to try taking your pieces, which I think is very great. And even if you need to discard a card, you can feel free to discard the end or any normal unit so that you can use Turret Cannon Dragon to put it back to your deck and draw yourself a card. So like these two, when you combine together, you basically didn't lose anything. And I'm running 2 of the Gibills. I find this card very useful and interesting. At first I didn't run it, but after I do some research, saw some matches online and see different builds, I find Gibill very useful because once Gibill boost ends, you can put him into Soul and get your Vanguard 5k for the whole turn, which means you can attack with your Vanguard first with this boosted, then you put that into the Soul, get your Vanguard at 5k. And what it does helps is it fills your Soul during the battle phase. So like when you before the cross attack while having the end skill, assuming you only have the end under it and don't want to Soul Blast that, once you call a Gibill, boost with it, then put it into the Soul, get your Vanguard at 5k, then now you can swing and simply counterblast on and Soul Blast your Gibill out to restand. So very helpful. And combining with Striking, you can have your Vanguard to get 10k power, so have you adjust the power, assuming if you have very bad luck with triggers, sometimes like me, then at least you can hit 23k, which helps. And then for Elmo's, nothing much to say about Elmo. Counter charge, good booster, draw your cards. And I'm running 2 of the Heat Shot Dragon. Only running 2. I've tried run 3, but the main uses of Heat Shot Dragon here is only 2. 1, to ride it so you can discard a card and draw your extra card, so you can do some filtering, which will help you to use your Turret Cannon Dragon, or boosting your Vanguard, so as long as your Vanguard stand, it will stand as well. But outside of that, you won't have any chances to make your Heat Shot Dragon useful. So I just keep 2 whenever I need. Even if I don't draw it, I still have like Elmo to boost, I still have my Lava Flow Dragon to boost, and worst of the worst, I still have my Gibill to boost and like give my Vanguard 5k and restand it. So that's always fine. And then entering triggers, I am running 6 crits, 6 draws, and 4 heals. The main reason I'm running a little bit more draws, usually I do 7 crit 5 draws. I've tested it, I always find myself lacking hands, so this time I'm going to switch it back to 6 draws, 6 crit, and since I'm using force 2 most of the time, so I already have a crit there, so I don't need to push myself that much on crits, and I do want to get myself some chances to have more hands, so more extra draw is good. When discarding, instead of discarding a 15k shield, 5k shield is always better. So that's why I'm running like that. And now we can take a look at what we can do with this deck. Okay, so talking about different moves, of course your first ride will be a Lava Flow Dragon, so you can draw one card at first and then look top 5 for a grade 3. Or you ride a hit shot, so you can draw one, discard one, draw one. So help with filtering cards. These will be mainly your right targets. Unless you don't have them, then of course you will need to ride a Elmo or Gibil, but most likely they will just stay as regards. So whenever you have any combination of these, as long as you have these, ride them. Then once you get into grade 2, there's a few things you can do depending on how many damages you have. If you have only one, and of course you can always use Striken. Make sure you have a color loss here, so whenever you ride, you at least get 5k when drawing a crit. But if you do afraid that one color loss is not going to save you, then of course don't ride your Striken. Then you can choose to ride your turret cannon or init roll. But if most of the time you have these two cards in your hand, most of the time I will pick turret cannon dragon to ride and call a init roll dragon as a regard if I need to call an extra attacker. Why is because init roll dragon can get itself a power. Also, once you go to your grave return, he will be very useful. Turret Cannon Dragon stays there, just become a 10k, sometimes not going to help you a lot, even though it can help you pop something, recycle and draw you a card. But if you are going to push your opponents, then it's better to have your Init Roll Dragon to stay as a rearguard more than a Turret Cannon Dragon. And once you go to grade 3, of course you will be riding the cross and try to put yourself at the end in. So you can copy the skill to start doing some multiple attacks. Then it depends on how many counter blasts you have. For example, if you only have one counter blast, and assume you don't ride your Striken, then once you're ready, you can already stand 3 times. Then if you have a Init Roll Dragon, try to search for another. The cross is for free, so you can even ditch it afterwards. For the withstand skill, try to have a hit shot, then just randomly call some regards out like this, or even like this. That's probably better because once you attack this side, then you can chuck this into the soul to get 5k. And now, since you're on force 2, then if you're using hit shot, then you don't need to flank, you just boost, attack, stand. But one thing that I would suggest you to think about is the timing of using the end skill. Because you have 2 skills. One is, as long as you have 4 or less cards in hand, which as long as you ride the cross, you can ignore that part. Counter blast 1, soul blast 1, and restand this card. You get -1 drive. And the second skill is, as long as your soul has an Overlord, then you can discard 3 cards, and send this unit get 10k and -1 drive. So most of the people think, after my first attack, I am just going to drop 3 cards first, get 10k and restand, so that my opponents will keep guarding because I am 10k higher and they are harder to guard. But sometimes I actually would suggest people to use the Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1 skill first. Of course, it's depending on different situation. So for example, if you already have a hit shot, then the 10k, of course, it's good to have, but it's not a must. in my opinion, because you can first swing, see if you got a trigger first. If you got a trigger, then you can also look at opponents if they got a trigger or if they got a big hand or not. If sometimes they got a very small hand, I would rather just counter blast one and soul blast one first, without that 10k, because I want my opponents to try to drop a little bit more cards, and at the same time, since I didn't draw 3 cards yet, I can allow myself to do an extra drive check and then decide what cards I want to discard. So this way I can maintain a better quality of my hand, because I'm not just going to recklessly swing and like discard all my hands and just hope myself surviving with a very low amount of hands. Of course, there are times like that when you have a like totally bad hand, then you can just drop them all and try to switch to something else. But if you do have a good hand, sometimes it's always good to just counter blast one and soul blast one, withstand it and attack again and see what you get and what your opponents get. If they get like 2 defensive triggers, then you know that 10k is not going to help you. You can even just pass turn, so that you basically just get 3 cards through drive check by counter blasting one and soul blasting one, and you are already attacking 2 times. And those hands can help you survive for a turn and also help you build up your next turn. And when you go to next turn, maybe then you have a Kagero to help you get more power. Maybe you can rewrite the cross and spread the force 2 marker to your Road Dragon, which will help you to push your opponents even harder. So don't just focus on like the first turn kill kind of idea. Sometimes it works. Of course, if your opponent is only got like 3 hands, then of course why not just go all in. But at the same time, you need to check if they got too many defensive trigger, then you need to consider if you can hit. If you can still hit, then go for it. Make sure they draw more cards. If you know you're not going to hit or you need to drive check to win, which when you first try you won't be able to get total of 4 drive, you can only get 3 drive, 2, 1 and 0. So looking at the whole board is very important, which is what we learn when we play the end, but we can't always fully do it, because the end skill always requires us to have 4 cards or less to counter blast one and soul blast one to withstand. And sometimes when we have like 3 cards and we drive check, we suddenly get a draw trigger and that effect is gone. So the whole thing is stopped, but now you don't have that problem, so you can easily switch between which kind of skills you want to use to withstand your the cross and make a better use of it. Of course, if you already have like whole bunch of hands, you just like keep hitting draw triggers every single turn, like that, something like that, and you have so many hands, like you have this whole bunch of hands, like, then of course you can simply just draw 3 cards and look for better stuff and keep swinging with high power. But again, if you don't have that much hands, I would rather try to keep my hand size a little bit bigger, unless I have confidence to kill my opponent that turn, and which is why I'm using Striking. And Striking gives me a chance to get more cards, get a little bit higher power, so my opponents need to put more cards to guard in early game, especially when I first ride going first and ride the crossover Striking with 2 counter blasts, then I can almost take the match even without a critical trigger, because draw trigger still helps, makes you draw cards easier, makes sure every single attack more powerful. And even if you don't get triggers, as long as you have you're riding this and have this boosted, he will always be a 23k at least. And once you draw 3 cards, it's a 33k. So it doesn't matter even if you don't have a hit shot. Even if you just have an Elmo, you can, depending on the situation, when to boost your 11k, or maybe if you have more regards, then you can use the Lava Hope Dragon. 13k booster, still good. So you can have many ways to play carefully, play wisely, and this deck can help you win games. It can. But you really need to be very careful, because this doesn't like other forced clans right now that you can simply save a lot of hands. Since you need to always drop some cards here, so you do need to be very careful. I will always say that. Just be careful when you play the end, because Overlord deck always have a very interesting point. Is like their effect is so great, but whenever you play the deck, people always say, oh, it's not actually that great. Even when we have like the rebirth, the best of course is still the old DN, because you can make your opponents too afraid you have a DN in hand and withstand and win the game. But now everything is so clear that you are going to withstand, so the threat is kind of changed into something else. And of course the game is like totally different. That's so many years back. And I've always heard people like saying I'm not good at playing the Overlord deck because I can't trigger any crits whenever I use the cross to attack. Which of course, getting triggers is great, but at the same time, if you are going to build this deck and play with it, you need to be at least have the mindset that you are not going to get any triggers from your cross drive check, and how best you can utilize every single attack, making them all effective, making them to be threats without counting triggers. That's important, because as long as you get a trigger, that's a plus on what you already can do. So if you can already make your opponents drop their whole hand through the cross with the ends and your whole board, then every single trigger is going to ruin their plan, because now they are lacking 10k to guard. So they need to change a lot of plans. But you need to plan ahead. You need to be very good at your numbers and try to push through. Then you should be able to win some games. Of course, there's no guarantee win for every single deck, but you can only try your best to find the best way, best formula to win. And to me, whenever I'm using this deck, the best formula is when I have 2 counterblocks and I ride a strike gun, I have a Gabriel ready to boost, and of course I have a hit shot there to just push. And my Init Road Dragon will just be boosted and ready. As long as I get anything not done, then I will swing with it and finish the game. Yeah, so I think that's basically what I need to explain about this deck. But of course, if you have any questions, like how are we going to do some calculations and anything, do let me know. I will try my best to answer them, and you can try to build it, have fun. It's not a cheap deck, so whenever you're going to build this type of like Overlord decks, you need to know what you're doing so you don't kind of waste your money, because whenever you want to build Overlord deck, you always want to use the powerful effects, but at the same time the cost is very high money wise. The actual game mechanic cost wise is quite high. So how are you going to make your money worth, make the whole deck valuable, not only on cost but also on how you play it, how to make it strong, that's all up to you. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more deck profiles. I still have at least a Messiah deck profile and a Blade Master deck profile to come, and I'm likely going to make more DP deck profile because I just bought my playset of Train Order, so I can have fun with it, with more builds. Maybe not Gallop, probably something else, since I already built one Gallop. Then you can stay tuned for that. And before that, I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.